Hey guys, welcome back to Sparkman Homestead. We're in the kitchen today and we are going to get another project done. I find that the month of October is actually the season where I'm hustling the most. Like what I mean by hustling is I am doing the most amount of preserving and getting stuff put up for winter. It has been a crazy, crazy busy month. We processed the turkeys last weekend and for the last 4 days, I have been dealing with turkey stuff. So we process them. Then the next day I like to part most of them out. We do like to keep 2 turkeys. We like one for Thanksgiving. It is a tradition that my family eats turkey for Christmas. So we always like to have a turkey for Christmas. And then all of the other turkeys, we only had 9 this year. The other 7 turkeys I ended up actually parting out. So I kept the drumsticks, I kept the breasts, and the tenderloins. And the rest of it I put into ground turkey. I made chorizo ground turkey, I made breakfast ground turkey, and then just plain regular ground turkey. So all of that usually takes me about 3 days to get it all done, and it is like long, long days. So very thankful to be done that project. Been harvesting quite a bit of stuff still for my garden. The peppers are really just starting to just crank out peppers for some reason. It's really weird because we had a cold snap come through and just turned my peppers on to full-blown grow mode. So I've been harvesting a lot of peppers and just preserving a lot of them, putting them in my freezer and pickling them, doing all that stuff. But yeah, it's just been crazy busy. So today we're going to do a project with an item that I found in my freezer when I was trying to clear it out. I found some frozen raspberries, which are starting to get a little bit of freezer burn. We still have those apples to tackle. I am not going to deal with them right now because some of the apple projects that I want to get done are projects that take a really, really long time to do. Like the apple butter has to sit for over 24 hours. The apple cider is another thing that I like to have sit for 24 hours. So they're longer projects and I have quite a bit of a workload right now. So I'm just wanting to get a quick and easy project done using a little bit of cranberries that I have left. I actually ended up making a cranberry sauce. I did a whole cranberry sauce. I did film it, so I'll include that little recipe in here for you guys as well, but that'll be later on. So right now, we are going to get a recipe done with some almost freezer burnt raspberries, some leftover cranberries, and some apples. So the inspiration for the recipe that we are going to do today, I actually found in one of my canning books when I was trying to figure out what I was going to do with all of my apples. And I came across this one recipe. I think it was in the fall canning book, but I'm not exactly sure because I didn't end up dog-earing it because I knew I wasn't going to do it because the amount of sugar in it was insane. And it did have pectin in it and had regular pectin. So I thought, okay, I can use my Pomona's pectin because I can without sugar if I use my Pomona's pectin. Anyways, I couldn't figure out the conversion of this recipe. So what I did is I went to AI and I typed in the recipe and I said, can you convert this to a Pomona's pectin, no sugar recipe? AI within like 2 minutes popped out the recipe for me. The only thing I wanted AI to do for me was just tell me how much Pomona's pectin I needed to substitute this amount of sugar for and just the regular stuff. So it is still completely canning safe to do this recipe. If you actually go to the Pomona's website, even I think in their canning book, let me check. They do have a amazing canning book. One of you amazing friends sent me this book and I'm so grateful for it because there's such good recipes in it. I think in here potentially there might be a conversion thing. Anyways, I didn't have this information available to me, nor did I want to dig it up and try to find it because as you can see, I can't even find it right now, but I know it's in here somewhere. So that's why I just used the AI tool that I have available just to do the conversion for me. I actually saved this recipe for myself in a PDF. What I'm going to do is just, there was a huge shadow outside. It must have been a turkey vulture or something. So I'm going to leave this recipe printed for you guys below if you want to give it a try. So the recipe we're going to do today is for a raspberry cranberry apple preserve. It's kind of like a jam, and we're going to sweeten it with honey instead of sugar. It sounded delicious, and like I said, I'd found these raspberries and knew I had to get them used. This recipe kind of reminds me of Christmas jam. I have made Christmas jam in the past. I will leave that video linked for you guys because that is probably one of my most favorite jams. It has strawberries in it though, but it is so good. And this recipe kind of reminds me of it a little bit. So I'm just trying to figure out how many apples we need. So it says 1 cup of finely chopped peeled apples. Let's go and grab maybe 3 because these are pretty small apples. Just gonna grab my basket. There we go. Like we're going to the orchard, but we're going to the fridge. I'm going to try to find time next week to get these apple projects done because we got this big box. I mean, the apples are looking okay. Some of them are not looking the best, or some of them are looking a little soft, but again, these were seconds when I bought them. So let's get the really soft ones out of here. Then put in our basket. I'm going to actually just grab a couple for fresh eating to put in the kitchen fridge. So that should be a good amount. One of these boxes, I already had a pre-used one, so I want to use the rest of this pectin before I use a brand new box. And the recipe calls for 2 teaspoons of pectin, so we definitely have that in here. So the first thing we got to do is make our calcium water. If you are new to Pomona's pectin, it is a pectin that allows you to can without using an obscene amount of sugar. You could actually do no sugar. You could do stevia. It does require a calcium water to get the product to set up like it would with a regular pectin. It does provide you with the calcium water in your Pomona's package. I get mine from Azure Standard, but if you are in a country that doesn't have Azure Standard, you can also pick up Pomona's pectin on Amazon. I think it's a tad bit more expensive on Amazon. So we're going to get our calcium water made up. The directions to make the calcium water is in the pamphlet in the box. So calcium water. We need 1/2 teaspoon of calcium powder to 1/2 cup of water. So let me get my water. I go on vacation for a weekend and I literally forget how to can. It's like this is all brand new to me. Oh my goodness. I think I'm just tired from dealing with turkeys. Okay, so I have a little jar here, a little mason jar. I'll bring you guys down so you can see what I'm doing. And then what I say, 1/2 teaspoon. Where's my 1/2 teaspoon? Okay, so 1/2 teaspoon, which I think is pretty much what they give you in this package. So put the package in with 1/2 cup of water. I'm just using some filtered water. I like to put it in a jar to do this because you can put the lid on and shake it. So you need to shake this calcium water really good so that it gets all dissolved in this water. The one thing about this, the reason why I have 1/2 package of pectin in here is because this calcium water, you only use a small amount per recipe. If you're doing a lot of canning, like during the preserving season, just put this in your fridge and then you could just keep using this calcium water. Every package comes with calcium water, so I end up with a whole bunch of calcium waters left over because I just reuse this. I don't leave it too long. Like I won't leave it in there for months. I will make a fresh batch. It does last if you are doing a lot of canning. So we have our jars in our water bath canner. I'm going to use 1/2 pints for this. I really like to can my jellies in 1/2 pints. Fine, because it's usually just Steven and I eating it. We would not go through a pint of jelly very quickly, so that would be almost wasteful. It would go bad before we ate through the whole pint. So I just do it in 1/2 pints. One use for my jelly that I make, which is so delicious, is I make turnovers with it. So I'll make like pie crust. It's super, super easy just to make a pie crust. I make a whole bunch at once, put them in my freezer, and then when I'm craving turnovers, I just get this frozen pie crust out, defrost it, I cut it into like a square, put a little bit of jam in the middle, fold the pie crust over, and then put little perforation things so it can breathe, put a little egg wash on it and bake it, and it's just a mini pie, and it is so, so delicious and such a good way to use jam. So I'm thinking that this jam would be really delicious in a turnover. We have our calcium water, we have our pectin, we have our honey out. I'm just going to use this stuff from Costco. Okay, let's figure out what we need to do next since I'm brand new to canning today. Alrighty, so we need to get our apples peeled. So 1 cup of finely chopped peeled apples. You know what I'm going to get out? I am going to get out my little handy dandy chopper. This thing is such a workhorse in preserving season. I love, love, love this thing. I got it at Walmart and I think I paid like $13 or $14. I think they actually still have them at Walmart, but I will leave one linked for you guys in my Amazon storefront if you wanted to get one. So we need 1 cup. So let's peel maybe 2 to start with. I took some out for fresh eating also. I'm gonna wash them first. These are gala apples. I'm gonna save the skins and give them to my chickens. I showed you how to make pear scrap vinegar. You could do the same thing with apple peels. The other thing you can do with apple peels is make apple scrap jelly. That is really delicious, but we're not peeling enough apples today to do that. I might do that when we make our cider potentially. Get our chopper out, put our apples in here. There we go, we got some finely chopped apples. You know what? I think I'm actually going to double this recipe. So it calls for 2.5 cups of raspberries or 625 milliliters. And it also calls for 2 cups of cranberries or 500 milliliters. So I think I'm going to double this because this is the amount of cranberries we have. I have already made all of my cranberry sauce for the year. I don't eat a lot of it. In fact, I have some in the fridge that I'm going to show you a really yummy, yummy, delicious snack. But it's cherry lime jam. I got all of my cranberry sauce done. And then I have all of these cranberry juices already made. We will definitely go through that amount of cranberry juices this year. And then we definitely have enough raspberries that I really have to get used. So we're just gonna double it. It says that it makes 6 half pints. I always find with recipes, I don't get the same amount that it calls for. Just gonna get these other apples peeled and chopped up and then we can get to getting it all assembled. I thought this would be a really fun recipe to show you guys because apples are in season pretty much everywhere. And then if you can get a good deal on frozen raspberries, and cranberries now are going to start to go on sale. So I thought this was the perfect time to show you guys these recipes so that if you want to get some cranberry sauce in your pantry for Thanksgiving or Christmas, whenever, just the holiday season. I love sharing ideas with you guys when stuff is in season or on sale because, you know, everybody is definitely feeling the crunch of grocery costs. So if you can preserve stuff while it is cheap, that is the best way to build your pantry up and not go broke doing it and keep your family fed on a budget. That should be about 2 cups of apples. Okay, so we have a heavy bottom stock pot we're going to use for this project. And we're going to get our fruit put in there. Okay, so original recipe is 2.5 cups of raspberries or 625 milliliters of raspberries. So we're going to put in 5 cups. And I am using frozen raspberries. I am not going to defrost them beforehand because they will defrost in this process. These were raspberries I got from Azure, and when I got them, they were frozen in a solid block. So whenever I want to use them, I have to smash the bag because I have clumps like this in there. Real life here. This is real life. Still have a lot more raspberries, but that's fine. I've been eating them for breakfast, just defrosting them and putting on like pancakes or just in a bowl and just eating them mushy. Cranberries, we need originally 2 cups, so we're going to do 4 cups. And again, I'm using frozen cranberries. 1. Still got some left. I could even triple this recipe. Okay, and then we need our 2 cups of apples. It's just a little over 2 cups, so we'll just add that all in. Now the recipe says to add a 1/2 cup of water in with this, but because I am using frozen fruit, I'm only gonna add a 1/4 cup of water because there's already going to be some moisture in with these frozen fruit, so I don't wanna have too much water in here. We learned our lesson when we were making our pear recipe. Just go easy with the water. This looks so festive. I Love this. Right, we're gonna put this on a medium heat and we are going to bring this to a simmer. Just gonna stir it first. This is gonna taste so delicious and I am so excited about it. I think this would also taste delicious if you made like a chutney with it. You could put some nuts in here as well. One of you suggested a cookbook in, I think it was the pear video that I did. You had said that you had made an apple ketchup. You had mentioned a cookbook. I ordered that cookbook because apple ketchup, that sounds amazing. Ordered this cookbook. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for the recommendations. This is why I love reading the comments because I get some really good information. Anyways, I bought this cookbook. As soon as I had read that you had made an apple ketchup, I'm like, I need to get this cookbook and read what it's about. This cookbook has some amazing, amazing recipes in it. I am so excited to do some of these recipes. Now, one thing about this cookbook is I believe she's from New Zealand, so it does not have US canning practices in it. She just says, you know, put the lid on and leave it. She doesn't suggest on how to can anything like the way that we can it, like water bath or pressure canning. But anyways, there's fermentations in this cookbook and there is just so many delicious chutneys in here. I am really, really excited to get trying some of these recipes, like red currant hibiscus jelly. Amazing. Amazing. Vanilla peach jam. Anyways, just a lot of good recipes. One of them I'm actually going to be doing because I had mentioned in that video that I wanted to make some pickled ginger. She's got a recipe for it in here, so I'm excited. I'm probably going to do those ginger projects soon because that ginger has been in there for a little bit. I really like to leave things to the last minute, I think, which is not good at all. So let's get our pectin all ready while this is coming to a simmer. I'm gonna actually turn the heat up just a tad because these are frozen fruit and they are really, really frozen. So we're just gonna turn up the heat just a smidge to get that coming to a simmer. Alrighty, what do we need? What do we need? Small bowl, stir the pectin in with the honey. You want to do this to prevent the pectin from lumping up when you add it into your mixture. So the recipe says you can use 3/4 to 1 cup of honey. Let's use the 1 cup. I'm just veering to the 1 cup because we are using cranberries and cranberries are really, really tart. And I think they need that extra little bit of sweetness with it. So we're going to go with the 1 cup. You can also use stevia in this. You don't need to use any sugar or sweetener at all if you prefer. I mean, those raspberries are pretty sweet and the apple is really sweet as well. It's not a tart apple, like it's not a Granny Smith. The recipe that I am using, or the original recipe that I got, which again, I'm so sorry, I don't even know where it was, what candy book it was to even link it, but I believe it said to use more of a sweeter apple like Gala, Jonathan, and not a tart one. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it suggested to use the Gala. That's why I was like, oh, I have that. I'm gonna do that. Okay, so let's get our 1 cup of honey. Yeah, pretty much had 1 cup in here. Okay, and then we need 2 teaspoons of our pectin. I hope I have 2 teaspoons in here. 1. Yep. Exactly 2 teaspoons. And then we're gonna stir this pectin in. Makes a beautiful like caramel color when it's all stirred in. Looks like caramel sauce. Set that aside. So we want to stir this until the cranberries start to pop and the apples soften. So it says about 10 to 15 minutes, but because we're using frozen, it might take a little bit longer. Again, I'm going to include the video for you guys, but when I was making my whole cranberry sauce, I don't know, it was weird. Maybe it was because I was using frozen cranberries, but they didn't pop as if I was using like a fresh one. Because I know what it's talking about by them popping, like they literally explode, but I didn't have that happen when I made my cranberry sauce. So I don't know, maybe it's because they're frozen, so I don't know if they're going to pop, but if they don't, we'll just mush them with the back of our spoon, but we're gonna wait until these apples get soft though. Some of the raspberries are still clumped up because they're frozen. We'll just break them up. I have this on a medium heat to simmer this. I guess what I'll do while we wait for these apples to get softened and for the cranberries to open up, I will put that clip in here showing you guys how I made my whole cranberry sauce. The recipe that I used to make the cranberry sauce is out of this cookbook, so I will leave it linked for you guys in the video description. Here's the video on how I made my cranberry sauce. We're gonna make the whole cranberry sauce on page 21 of that canning book that I showed you. So this was a 5-pound bag of frozen cranberries that I had purchased from Azure Standard. So the recipe calls for 2 quarts of cranberries or 2.5 pounds. So I was just weighing them out. Now because they were frozen, I wanted to defrost them. I thought that this was gonna work, so I put them in some cooler water. And then to a heavy bottom stock pot, I'm going to add 4 cups of water and then 4 cups of sugar. I did not try to change this recipe to a honey or a no sweetener. I wanted this to be the cranberry sauce that I always remember having at Thanksgiving. I didn't really want to play around with anything. Usually I tend to lean towards let's use honey instead of sugar, but with this one I was just like, we're just gonna keep it sugar. And there is a lot of sugar in here, but it does taste amazing. So we're gonna take that sugar water mixture and then we're gonna put that onto the stovetop and we're gonna put that over a medium-high heat and we're gonna stir it while the sugar dissolves. So while that was dissolving, I took my cranberries because I thought they were gonna be melted, and they were all frozen in a clump because I guess I was using cold water. So now I'm just taking the cranberries and rinsing them. If you are using fresh cranberries, you just want to rinse the cranberries and then just set them aside. So now that all of this sugar is dissolved in that water, we're going to let that boil for 5 minutes. After the 5 minutes, we're going to take our cranberries and we are going to add them. We're going to continue to boil. Now the recipe says don't stir, but because mine were still kind of frozen, I stirred it and it says don't stir and let the cranberries burst. So this is what I was explaining to you before. They just were not bursting for me. Like I just left it literally for 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Still nothing was happening. So I finally came in with a potato masher and just mashed them. I like to have the cranberries kind of whole, but I didn't want the whole sauce just to be whole cranberries. I wanted to have some of them mushed up in here. So I just took the potato masher and mashed it around a little bit. So after that, you are going to ladle the hot cranberry sauce into hot jars. You need to make sure your jars are hot because that sauce is hot and you don't want to have your jars crack. So you're going to ladle them in and you're going to leave 1/2 inch of headspace and then you're going to come and debubble them. So just remove all of the air bubbles from the jars. Then you're going to clean the rims off really well because this is very, very sticky because we used a lot of sugar in this. So make sure you're cleaning them well. You're going to put your lids on. You're going to put your rings on to fingertip tight. And then we're going to get these put into a water bath canner. And we are going to process these for 15 minutes. Now I am doing half pints. The actual recipe that I'm following in the ball book suggests to do these into pint-sized jars. And it says pint size you're going to can at 15 minutes. But this is what they look like. So good. Stay tuned. I will show you a little snack that we can make with these cranberry sauce because it's not just for turkey and chicken. You can use it for other stuff too. I'm going to check these apples and see if they're tender. Definitely starting to stick. So, and I turned it down to a low because you don't want it boiling too hard. But you see how the cranberries aren't, well, they kind of are, but they're not really bursting. I'm just going to kind of smush them the back of my spoon. Check the apples. Yep, the apples are tender. So what we're going to do is we're going to add our calcium water in here. And I'm going to turn this down to a low so that it doesn't boil too aggressively. We're going to add in 2 teaspoons of our calcium water. Stir that in. Because this is nice and hot and boiling, we're going to add our honey and pectin to this now. And we'll stir that. And then we need to bring this back up to a boil and we need to boil it for 2 minutes. I have this on a medium heat. All right, I'm going to start the timer for the 2 minutes now. And I'm just going to keep stirring it a little bit because I don't want it to stick to the bottom of the pan. And get this taken off the stove top. It's definitely set. I can tell it is nice and thick. Let's get our jars out. May have put too many jars in here. You kind of check to see if it's going to set to the way that it drips. See how it's dripping in one kind of clump? It's an indication that it's most likely set. If it just drips like a lot, then it's too liquidy and it's not going to set. But that is a slow drip. I think we're good. Do we try it? Yummy. You know what? This would taste delicious with some orange in it. Alrighty, so we need a 1/4-inch headspace. Yeah. Oh yeah, this is definitely set. Now remember how I told you that the original recipe says that you would make 6 half pints with it? I don't even think I'm going to get 6 out of doubling it. Such a messy canner. This is a super thick jam. Okay, we're gonna debubble and then I'm gonna top them off because I need to be at that 1/4-inch headspace. When I first started canning, I bought like a canning kit from Ball and it came with this little tool here, and what it does is it checks your headspace. I used it at the very beginning because I was new and I was learning about canning, but as you can, you kind of learn where your headspace is. One way that I learned how to tell, and these are very hot. So this line right here is 1 inch. This little line right here is 1/2 inch. And then this line at the very top here is a 1/4 inch. So that's how you can tell where your headspace is. I mean, you can get one of these tools and I'll show you how to use it. But it's not necessary to have this because the canning jars tell you on the canning jar where your headspace is. Let's see here. See? You just test like this and you can see right there that we are at a 1/4 inch. This one needs a little bit more. That one is at a 1/4 inch, so that one's good, that one's good, and these 3 need a little bit more. Because this is thick, you definitely want to make sure you're debubbling it. I think we're good now. Yeah, this one's good. This one's good. You might need a touch bit more. There, that one's good. Okay, let's clean these because I made a horrific mess. So from doubling it, we got our 6 half pints. Now that we have the tops clean, we're gonna get our lids on these. Rings on to fingertip tight. These put in our water bath canner. We got our lid on. So we're gonna wait for them to come to a full rolling boil. Once it gets there, we're gonna set our timer for 10 minutes. After the 10 minutes, we're gonna turn the element off, take the lid off, and let it rest for at least 5 minutes before we take those jars out. It just lets the jars come to temperature before you take them directly out of the heat. Jam is such a quick and easy recipe to do. Like if you are really strapped for time, jam is by far the quickest thing that you can make, especially if you have your fruit all ready to go. It's just so quick to make. The other thing with this recipe is you don't necessarily even need to use pectin with it. Apples actually have already some pectin in them and they help things set up naturally. So you could experiment and not use the pectin if you didn't want to, because those apples might do that for you. You would definitely have to boil it a lot longer than the 2 minutes. So wait for these and then we will be right back and get them out of the canner. I think it's at a full boil right now. Yep, so that is a rolling boil. So we'll get our timer set for 10 minutes. Okay, so I showed you guys the cranberry sauce. I am starving right now, so I'm gonna make myself a little bit of a snack using the cranberry sauce. So we have some sourdough bread. I'm just getting out some cream cheese, and then we will get some cranberry sauce. This stuff didn't fit in a jar, so I just have some in my fridge. Actually, I have 2 jars in my fridge right now because one of the jars actually did not seal. So I had to put it in the fridge to use right away. I'll show you guys my favorite snack that I make with cranberry sauce. All right, so cut a piece of bread just to get a better bread knife. I usually use an electric knife when I'm cutting my sourdough, but I just didn't want to get that out. Cream cheese. Spread it on the bread. You could toast the bread too. This is even better with toasted bread. This also is delicious on baguettes, but I don't have any baguettes right now, so this is what we're going to use. This is our cranberry sauce. See, it sets up almost like a jelly. Sets up really good. We'll put some cranberry sauce on here. This is almost like a dessert because this does have sugar in it. Look at that delicious snack. It's such a good appetizer. If you're doing a charcuterie board, this is really good to add to it. So good. Timer went off. Turn the element off, the lid off. We'll bring these into the other room. Okay, we're gonna let these rest for 5 minutes. Just have another project in here I gotta get put away. So this is some dill that I picked last week, and it is good and dry. I dried it a little bit in the dehydrator, but I mostly just put it on this tray and just left it out to air dry. I don't like to hang dry this herb because it does fall to the ground. I hang dry most of my herbs. Like this is sage and this is thyme, and these are perfectly fine to hang dry because they don't really drop their, I don't know what it is, leaves. I have hung my dill up before. The whole ground was full of dill leaves. I've learned just to lay my dill flat and dry it. So it is all dry now. I'm just gonna put it in the bag. See all the green on here? This is what happens to the floor if you hang dill. Even with me leaving it on the table, it still makes a mess. I need to go out and harvest a little bit more. I think I showed it on my Instagram, but I went to go and harvest some of my dill and half of it was chewed off and I couldn't figure out what was going on because I didn't harvest it. And then I noticed it was covered in black swallow caterpillars. So I just was like, okay, maybe I'm not gonna get a lot of dill, but I do have a little bit more out there that I can go and harvest. So I wanna go and get some more. Let's get these out of here and resting. That's what they look like. Oh, so delicious. We're gonna let those rest there for 12 to 24 hours. After that time, we're going to take those rings off, wash the jars, label them, and then get them put on our pantry shelf. You know what? I was actually putting something away in my pantry and I realized that I have not done a pantry tour in such a long time. I think it's actually been a couple of years since I did a pantry tour. I will leave the one that I did, I think it's been 2 years. I'll leave it linked here for you guys, but question, would you guys like me to do a pantry tour? I will show you everything that we've been canning this year. If you want to see it, let me know in the comments. But what I will try to do with that pantry tour is I will try to link all of the videos showing you guys how I canned certain items. I get a lot of requests for like potatoes and stuff like that. I can link all of those videos in that one as well. But let me know in the comments if you want to see a pantry tour. I've not done one in such a long time. I'm thinking maybe to do one now that we're nearing the end of preservation season. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we're nearing the end because I am ready for a break. Ready for break. I'm really hoping my microphone works out here because it is very windy. Very windy. We had a cold front come through a couple days ago, and now we're starting to get the warmer front come back up. So it's windy. Oh, so much to show you guys still in the garden. Look at my pineapple sage. We had a whole bunch of rain and this thing just exploded. I need to get out here and harvest it. This makes a delicious tea. But I just have a whole bunch of cherry tomatoes I've got to get picked. This is all cilantro. Need to get that picked. That's some rosemary. This will actually overwinter here, so I'm not too concerned with getting that picked. Yummy. These are so delicious. I came out here the day we processed the turkeys and I said, I'm gonna pick these Tabasco peppers. And I got halfway through and I was like, I was done. I just could not handle anything else that day. So I still need to come out and get these harvested because I need to make some hot sauce. But look at this. It is still setting flowers. This thing is huge. So I've said it before, I am 5'9" and this plant is as tall as I am. It's huge. This one isn't as big because I planted this almost a month after this plant. And then I actually do need to harvest these guys. This is all my Anaheim peppers. The plant is just loaded full of peppers. I don't know what that bug is. What is that thing? Kind of looks like a praying mantis, but I don't think it is. Anyways, I need to get out here and harvest that. This is my horseradish. This thing has come back to life so many times. I need to actually get some and harvest it because I need to make some fire cider. Need to get some of that. But I have to go in here. Realized I forgot my scissors inside, so I need to get my little clippers for the dill. This is my olive tree. I got this from Stock Bros 2 years ago, and I bought it like when it was like this small, and now it's this tall. I just have it in here because our nights are getting pretty cold. They're not getting to the frost point, but they're getting cold. And then this I also have in here. This is my bay leaf tree, my bay laurel. Anyways, it doesn't like super cold weather, so I have them in here. I think they appreciate not being in that wind right now. I'm going to bring these guys actually in my house when we get to the freezing point because this greenhouse actually doesn't keep the frost off. It just keeps it kind of warmer than it is outside. Okay, let's get the dill first. Let's get the dill first. And then I need to get some spinach also. So this bed is a mix of dill. I have a pak choi here that went to seed because it's way too hot here to ever grow this stuff. And then I have a whole bunch of cilantro in here. I don't need any cilantro right now. I just want to get some dill. But this is what I was telling you guys. It's just got annihilated. Oh, there's one right there. Show you guys what the caterpillar looks like. There's what the caterpillar looks like. That's a black swallow. And they like cilantro also, because I seen one of them on my cilantro plants when I came out here, but they definitely love the dill. Let's get some of it picked. Just pick it like that. Also just shake it a little bit and make sure there's no little baby caterpillars on it. Look at how good my carrots are doing. I'm super happy. They are doing very, very good. And I can leave them in here. They'll overwinter. I pulled one the other day just because I wanted to check on it and see, and it was like this tall, so they weren't ready at all, but they're looking good. This is my radish bed. I came out and picked a whole bunch of beautiful, huge radishes. And then this is my spinach. These are 2 different varieties of spinach. Don't know which one is which, but I need to get these picked also. We have actually not had our frost yet. I think we'll probably end up having it in a couple of weeks, but spinach tastes delicious after it's been through a frost. So this I'm actually not going to cover when we get our first frost. I'm gonna let it kind of get the frost on it. Same with kale. Kale tastes delicious after you have a first frost. But after that, I'll cover it up because it won't appreciate too much being in the frost. But it does make it taste a little bit sweeter. Look at the size of these spinach leaves. Huge. Spinach is one of those plants that you can pick and it'll just keep growing. This will grow here until spring and then it'll probably bolt in the spring. But I should hopefully have spinach all winter long. Trying to decide what I want to make for supper, and I'm thinking maybe something with spinach, like sauteed something. I don't know. I did can up some turkey meat. This is the first time I've ever attempted to can diced turkey. It's just because I had so many huge turkey breasts that they were starting to really fill the freezer up, and I wanted to save a little bit of freezer space. So I canned up, I think, 4 turkey breasts, and I got almost 12 jars of diced turkey meat. So maybe we'll take that turkey meat, put in some spinach. We'll figure it out. I don't know what I'm gonna make yet. If you guys have any delicious turkey recipes, please let me know. Leave them in the comments because we have a lot of turkey. I love trying new recipes, especially when the pantry challenge starts in January. I love just having an arsenal full of new recipes to try. Just keeps it fresh. So if you guys have any really good turkey recipes, leave them linked below. I do want to leave some of the smaller leaves so they have an opportunity to get bigger. I don't want to pick it too much because it doesn't grow too fast in the fall, just because as you can see, we don't have a lot of sun out here right now. So it doesn't grow as fast, but it still does grow, just not quickly. So we don't want to pick it dry. This whole back area, it was where I had my onions, and it all is volunteer holy basil or tulsi. It's all full of it back here. I've just let it go because the bees have been enjoying it. Look at my cosmos. Aren't they amazing? I've been coming out and picking them and bringing them inside and having bouquets still, but they're so beautiful. Love them. It's amazing what rain does. I do need to deal with my pepper plants soon though, because this is actually where my garlic is going to go. So I need to get this amended so that I can put my garlic down. So I just got a notice today that they're shipping my garlic out. Anyways, I wanted to come back here and show you this plant. This is my hibiscus plant, or my roselle plant. And I was totally convinced I wasn't going to get any this year. And then I came out and I noticed that it is finally starting to set. Now, I did some research on this, and apparently you have to wait until it flowers and then you can pick it, but I'm not completely sure. If you guys have any information on how to grow the hibiscus or roselles, please let me know, because I don't think that I'm going to be able to get these to go to flower to be able to harvest them in time. I didn't get them planted until too late. All right, so we have our basket of stuff. Get this stuff put away. Got 2 little containers here. Put my tomatoes in one, and then some green beans in the other. Probably just going to end up either eating these fresh or putting them in the freezer. I have enough canned green beans for the year. I don't need any more. This is a green bean leaf and not spinach. So that out of there so I don't accidentally eat it. Such a pretty picture. Need to get my camera. This is literally how I get my Instagram inspiration. When I accidentally drop something and it just looks very inspirational. I want to take a picture and post it on Instagram. But that is pretty good for fall. For almost the end of October, that's pretty good harvest. I'm not going to complain about that. So I'm going to get everything put away, and then I'm going to get back to work. I actually had a lot of control out in that garden because I could have spent hours out there pulling stuff, but I know I got to work. So thanks so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you have a good day or night whenever you're watching this, and I will see you on the next video. Bye, guys. This is how things get misplaced.